Alright, babies, we're doing a video today. It's one of the interesting ones from late last year. So I mentioned before I was writing a book, and at one point I was stuck. And I don't know if it's used the word stuck. I had no idea what to discover because I very much kind of like allow whatever my mind sees to kind of like inspire, right? And inspiration still deeply is a heavy word for me, but the truth is, like, I'm not in control. I am not in charge. I see things and I go, like, this could go in the book, or I could write about this, or I could write about that. But truth is, all of them kind of like build together, and then suddenly something kind of like comes up, and I go, like, oh my fucking god, and I just like grab like my copybook and just kind of start writing. But at one point, I was feeling. How do you feel in the darkness? Do you feel lost in the darkness or stuck in the darkness? The idea behind it, I was trying to search for the light, which is basically something that kind of like I could see so I can go somewhere, right? Because like darkness kind of like makes you feel like you're surrounded by nothingness. And ultimately like one light, one ray of light. It's a Japanese saying. A single amber can light up the darkness at the end of the can show you the path at the end of the tunnel. An ember, like when you have those the incense, the red, basically orangey light that it makes as it burns, that in darkness could actually be seen, and it could light the path for you. And it was one of those processes where I was kind of like was diving and like she's not diving, I don't know, she's just like swimming around within that, trying to poke at things and throwing stuff in my head and trying to understand. And I started writing some stuff about the difference between light and darkness, and ultimately the difference between the sun's light and the moon's light. And this is something I wrote. The sun's light doesn't pierce the darkness, the moon's light does. And I say that with utmost respect for the divine energy that we receive from the sun. But I don't think that's light. I feel the energy from the sun because energy travels in waves, right? And what we're receiving, we're not receiving light. What we're receiving is we're receiving the energy of the sun. But because, what are they called? The photons. Photons exist everywhere, and basically the sun's energy kind of like turns them on and off. Right, you really have to think of it as a wave. So if a photon is basically here, it's off. If it's here, it's on. Or if the wave actually touches the photon, it turns on and then it turns off. I don't think that's the case with the light that comes from the moon. And in truth, it's because like when the sun's energy kind of like when the sun comes up, what we effectively do is we see colors. Whilst when the moon's light is revealed, what we're seeing is whatever it is that was colored before. And that's a separation. Richard Feynman talks about it. His father, as a young kid, points him at a bird and he goes like, "You know what that bird is called?" And the boy goes, "No." And what happens is he looks at it, his father looks at him, and he's called this, this, and that in English. And if it's in Chinese, it's called this, this, and that. In Japanese, it's called this, this, and that. And French people call it this and that. And you can go through all the cultures of the world. You wouldn't have learned one shit about the bird, but you would have learned a lot about the cultures that have named the bird. So I feel that the same thing happens basically in the day. The sun actually is kind of like labeling things. It's painting the world and infecting our reality with a certain vision, which is basically conceptual. But the truth is where the light is shed on, only exists in darkness. Because what happens at the dark, you see everything for what it is, right? There's no shine. It's just there. All leaves look the same, even though they're different shades of green. All rocks look the same, even though they're different shades of like, I don't know, all the shades of the rocks. The sky basically gets its true form. Like the reason why our sky is blue is because some of the rays of the sun, the energy of the sun, are reflected by our ozone layer. And because the Earth is like curvy, so if the rays hitting like this, some of it gets refracted, and the rest are refracted down. So they kind of like create the blueness of the sky. And that's how our reality is kind of like molded, right? It's molded by that stuff. So in fact, sun's light doesn't, or the sun's energy does not pierce the darkness at all. What it actually does, maybe we can say it burns the darkness, or it pushes the darkness away. So effectively, that's what happens, right? If you think of the shadow being dark, like anywhere there's the sun, the shadow's on the other side. It, it applies pressure on the darkness. Really, if you're thinking about it that way, it's like the minute the sun kind of like goes away, darkness kind of like creeps behind it. Anyways, within that state of mind, I basically I realized that we are in the realm of the shadow. We're not really in the realm of the sun. We're in the realm of the shadow. The entire universe is basically dark. Whatever shines in the universe kind of like exists, or whatever shines in the universe gives it that light. The truth is, it's nothingness. There's that emptiness. There's like that void that has no color. That's what we call dark, right? Because like whatever's black has no color. And the extreme of light is pure white. Dark black colors absorb all the sun. White colors reflect all the sun. And basically, it's just you can actually see you can actually see a moon's ray, basically, and where it hits and how it hits. Like you can only see the sun rays and the shadows of the clouds or the trees. So effectively, you're not really looking at the actual sun's rays when you're seeing them. You're seeing the shadows and you're contrasting the actual like energy that's there. I think that's the only shit that's worth thinking about, man. Stuff like this. There is a theory I once kind of like thought of. It's like that the sun is basically cooking us, right? It's basically at a certain we are in the perfect basically place, the distance from the sun, to be able to kind of like I don't know, I guess be alive. And if anything, I feel like the sun burns us to smithereens, and we found a way to kind of like I don't know, maybe consciousness is what found a way to develop within the balance between energy and no energy. I'm not really sure. But if you want to see something for what it is, you can't see it under you can't see it under daylight because ultimately it's going to be painted by your reality. If you want the truth, only the moon can shed light on the truth. The sun paints the truth in its own image. I've written this somewhere. I don't know if it's in this book or the other book, but I'm sure I know I've written it. It's a video.